Hello there. Welcome back to the Senate Podcast. I am your host, Caleb Johnston, and today I want to do a deep dive into gaming, into the past 24 years of gaming. It's a new year. It's 2024. Last year was a great year for games, but I kind of want to look at the highlights over the last 24 years. So, like I said, the Senate Podcast, we're on YouTube. That's going to be our main platform, but also on Spotify, Apple Podcast. We're on Audible. I mean, we're on everything. Google Podcast, Amazon Music. Go give us a listen there. Let me know what you're listening to this on. If you're on YouTube, leave a comment. But let me know some of your favorite games over the course of the last 24 years, because this episode is going to be all about my personal, very subjective takes of some big games over the last 24 years. So hope you enjoy. Let's get into it. All right, here we go. The year 2000 in gaming. The Sims, Legends of Zelda, Majora's Mask, Perfect Dark. I mean, this is a throwback. Baldur's Gate 2, wow. Jet Set Radio, Pokemon Crystal, Resident Evil Code Veronica. This was a classic year. This is a throwback. Midnight Club Street Racing, Paper Mario. Awesome for the N64. Mega Man 2 Legends, Mario Party 3. There were some great games this year. Spider-Man 2000. Okay. Spyro, Year of the Dragon. So Final Fantasy 9. What a year of some classic games. So let me just give the highlights here. I think Tony Hawk Pro Skater 2 is up there in the top 3. Along with, you got to put Marvel vs. Capcom 2, because that really did a lot for the fighting genre with the art style and just a lot. So I would say that's probably top 3. And then, of course, the best game of the year 2000, Banjo-Tooie. I'm sorry, but that is one of the greatest sequels to a game ever made. If you take what they did in the first, what Rareware did for the first Banjo-Kazooie game, and then you look at Banjo-Tooie and how they implemented so much more into the sequel, it is a sequel to remember, much like Pro Skater 2. So that would be my top game for that year. Also, huge shout out to, of course, Paper Mario, spawning that series. Huge success, and also Spyro. I mean, come on, that was a great game. Not the best, but come on now. And of course, The Sims. I mean, that's huge. But that was a fun year. Classic year. From here on out, I think it's going to get a lot more contentious. 2001. Here are some highlights. First, I'll say kind of my personal, I guess. My personals, obviously, Conker's Bad Fur Day and the first Jak and Daxter. Also this year, notable releases: Pro Skater 3, Final Fantasy X, Super Smash Bros. Melee, Pikmin. Oh my, there's so many. Twisted Metal Black, SSX Tricky. I actually love SSX Tricky. Gran Turismo 3, I know that was huge. The spawn of Animal Crossing. I know you guys are screaming because there are some big games this year. Luigi's Mansion, the spawn of that series. Mario Kart Super Circuit, actually one of my favorite Mario Kart games. That was the Mario Kart for the Game Boy. But let's get into probably the top 3. Halo Combat Evolved. Okay, this was the spawn of the Halo series. 2001 was actually a fantastic year. Halo Combat Evolved, absolutely amazing game. One of the best video game series ever made. Metal Gear Solid 2, Sons of Liberty, also one of the greatest sequels ever made to one of the greatest series ever made. Metal Gear Solid 2, Sons of Liberty, that was 2001. And then Grand Theft Auto 3. That was a notable installment. Not the best, but of course we know what GTA went on to become one of the highest grossing game series ever. Those are some notable releases, but of course the best game of 2001, Sonic Adventure 2. I mean, that's up there as one of my favorite games ever made. It came out this year. Sonic Adventure 2, the best game of 2001. All right. That was a great year. So it's just going to get... Okay, I didn't understand what a task this episode was going to be, because I want to edit it up a little bit and make it a little bit more interesting for you guys. But 2000, Super Mario Sunshine, Tom Clancy's Splinter Cell, Pro Skater 4. This is a crazy year. Jet Set Radio Future, Metroid Prime, the spawn of that trilogy, GTA Vice City, Eternal Darkness, Resident Evil for the GameCube, the Wind Waker, Legend of Zelda, Wind Waker, awesome game, Metroid Fusion, Star Fox Adventure. This was a great year, but of course, the best game for that year was Sly Cooper and the Thievius Raccoonus. That is my favorite game series, and that was a great game for its time. Notable releases, I guess, Resident Evil 0 is in there. Like I said, Pro Skater 4. Mario Sunshine, actually my favorite Mario game. I think it's one of the best 3D Mario games, if not the best 3D Mario game. It's very underrated, very unique, special Mario Sunshine. And then, of course, Kingdom Hearts. Who can forget the first Kingdom Hearts game? What a revolutionary game within the industry, fusing genres, companies, IPs. It was amazing. So shout out to Kingdom Hearts. Huge shout out to Kingdom Hearts for that. But of course, Sly Cooper. Come on now. The first of that amazing series. So, 2003. This was the year of sequels. Okay? Hear me out. We have Ratchet and Clank Going Commando. All right. So, actually, 2002... Okay, was also shout out to the first Ratchet and Clank. Great game, but it wasn't the best when it first came out on PS2. It was missing the entire strafe feature, which really set back the game. But like I said, 2003, the year of sequels, Ratchet and Clank Going Commando, one of the greatest sequels compared to the original. So the jump from Ratchet and Clank 2002 to Ratchet and Clank Going Commando in 2003 was a huge jump in terms of just polish and product value from the content they added to the game, and what they were able to do with that. Also, comparatively to Ratchet and Clank Commando, you have Jak 2. These two, there's actually in Jak 2, in Ratchet and Clank Going Commando, there is a reference to Jak 2, and in Jak 2, there's a reference to Ratchet and Clank Going Commando. They were both great sequels that almost took the GTA-like approach to their series after the success of GTA, making them open world. Okay, anyways. 2003. Knights of the Old Republic, that was huge. Tony Hawk's Underground, huge. You got Max Payne 2, Beyond Good and Evil. So SSX 3, great game. Need for Speed Underground, great game. Sonic Heroes, who could forget that? The start of the series of Mario and Luigi, the Superstar Saga came out that year. Beautiful Joe. I don't remember if people... I don't know if people remember this game, Beautiful Joe, but it was absolutely amazing. Okay, so now for the best game of 2003. Of course, you already know, Mario Kart Double Dash. One of the greatest racing games ever. So unique. Nothing has quite been like Mario Kart Double Dash since then. And maybe that's for a reason. But I'd like to think that game is just special and a standout for that year. 2003, Mario Kart Double Dash. Also, huge shout out to Call of Duty. The very first Call of Duty is forgettable. But this was the spawn of that fantastic franchise. Super high grossing franchise, Call of Duty. Shout out to Call of Duty 2003. Moving on, 2004. We have Half-Life 2, Far Cry, Doom 3, The Sims 2. This year was stacked. Okay, you had Fable, Jack 3, GTA San Andreas, Prince of Persia, Mortal Kombat Deception. What a great Mortal Kombat that gets forgotten so much in the discussion of Mortal Kombat's within the mainstream. But I know there's a big cult following for Deception. Great game. Spider-Man 2, that game is iconic. Okay, a few more. Metroid Prime 2 Echoes, great game. Star Wars Battlefront, the OG one, not a great game, but I have so much love for that game. Legend of Zelda: The Four Swords Adventures, shout out to that. Now, let me get into what would be the top 3 for this year. 3, Halo 2. I actually love Halo 2. It might be my favorite of all the Halo games. I'm going to do a Halo series retrospective, hopefully in the coming months. I'm playing through all of them. I have to beat Infinite, and then that's it. I beat them all. Halo 2, one of my favorite games. Also, shout out to Paper Mario: The Thousand Year Door. I'm putting that on there in the top 3 because that game is honestly revolutionary in terms of a Paper Mario game and an RPG. This game is absolutely amazing. They're remaking it for a reason. Now, the greatest game of 2004, my favorite game of all time, number one game in my list of games, Sly 2, Band of Thieves. Come on. That is an underrated game. It's a masterclass in character development, storytelling, exposition, art, execution, all of it. It's music, Peter O'Connell, amazing. The voice acting, amazing. I mean, it's amazing. Amazing game. Also, shout out to the second best stealth game that year, Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater. That also came out 2004. 2004 was the year for stealth fans. You got Prince of Persia Warrior Within and also the original Far Cry. That was a great year. Moving on, 2005. You got Psychonauts, Call of Duty 2, God of War, the OG God of War, Splinter Cell Chaos Theory, Resident Evil 4. Some great games here. Of course, Star Wars Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith, the video game. Come on now. Lego Star Wars, the video game. Huge shout out to that. Ultimate Spider-Man. I don't know if you guys remember Ultimate Spider-Man. That game was fantastic. A lot of games this year. Sly 3, Among Thieves, also one of my favorite games of all time. It's absolutely amazing. So let me get into some of the huge releases of 2000. Battlefront 2, Star Wars Battlefront 2, the OG one. That game was revolutionary for fans of Star Wars. And then Kingdom Hearts 2. I think that might be, in terms of sequels, one of the greatest sequels ever made. And I'll put that up there as maybe the best game of 2005. That would be a conversation for conversations. The 2005 game of the year. So, all of those. What am I missing here? Probably missing something, but Shadow the Hedgehog. Okay. Great year. And this is the time when games were great. I love this era. It just brings back so many memories. 2006. I believe the launch of the Wii. You had New Super Mario Bros. You had The Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess, Final Fantasy 12, Oblivion, Bully, Wii Sports, Guitar Hero 2, Half-Life 2, Marvel's Ultimate Alliance, Resistance Fall. Man, wow, that was a 2006 game. Call of Duty 3. Call of Duty 3 was actually a good game. I played that a lot. My first Call of Duty was Big Red 1, which was, I believe, an interstitial between 2 and 3. And then 3 was my first mainline one. Okami. I played a lot of Okami. Mortal Kombat Armageddon. Fantastic game. So some notable releases. Gears of War. This was the spawn of that series. And it is, I believe, in my opinion, Xbox's greatest IP, Gears of War. Lego Star Wars 2 was that year. Wii Sports is such a huge game, not only because it was a packaged game with the Wii, but it is just a great game in general. So top 3, I'm putting Wii Sports up there. Resistance Fall of Man. Resistance is one of the most underrated first-person shooters ever created. Insomniac should have never got bought by PlayStation. They should still be making these types of games, but it is what it is. Shout out to Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess. Link becomes a furry. Okay. 2007. Moving along. This year right here is also one of the greatest years in gaming ever. I'm just going to go down the list. BioShock. Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare. Halo 3. Super Mario Galaxy. Uncharted Drake's Fortune. Portal. The Bee Movie. The game. It doesn't get better. It doesn't get more stacked than this year. Ben 10, Protector of Earth. Actually, in all seriousness, Lego Star Wars: The Complete Saga, great game. The First Crisis, Metro Prime 3. So this year, those are some huge releases right there. But I'd say obviously top 3. You got to say Halo 3, Modern Warfare, and BioShock. I would put I'd put Portal, Mario Galaxy in there as huge games. Team Fortress 2, obviously, what a iconic game. 2007. That's a year where I think a lot of people really got into video games because online also started to become very prominent here. Obviously, Team Fortress 2, huge multiplayer shooter right there. Halo 3. A lot of people like Halo 3 over 2, not only because the story is great, but because you could have this amazing online experience. I always like 2, but of course, Modern Warfare. That game revolutionized online video gaming. It is what it is. If you were there, if you played it, you understood. And then last but not least for this year, the first Assassin's Creed game, the spawn of one of the best stealth genres, one of the best stealth IPs ever made. 2000 Mario Kart Wii, Metal Gear Solid 4, Super Smash Bros. Brawl, Call of Duty World at War, Gears of War 2, GTA 4, Battlefield Bad Company, Dead Space, Far Cry 2, Left 4 Dead, Persona 4. Wow, this year is actually insane. Lego Batman the video game, Army of Two, Force Unleashed, Web of Shadows, Sonic Unleashed, Little Big Planet, Resistance 2. This year's crazy. Mortal Kombat vs. DC Universe, unapologetically an amazing game. So I'll give you top 3. I think you gotta put, for me, okay, anyways, for me personally, I'm just gonna do it. Smash Bros. Brawl in there. That's the best Smash Bros. Gotta put Little Big Planet in there. There was no game like that before Little Big Planet. What they did with the first Little Big Planet, it was huge. Resistance 2, I think, was an amazing sequel to the first game and was a great shooter. Absolutely amazing game. But of course, the best game of 2008, Pokemon Platinum. I'm always going to be super biased towards Pokemon Platinum. It's absolutely an amazing video game. 2009. This year was, for me, unlike any other year in gaming. I think 2009 is up there for me as maybe the best overall year for me. Batman Arkham Asylum. That game, you just had to be there if you were there on the ground floor for Batman Arkham Asylum. It changed gaming. Along with these 2 other games I'm about to mention. Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2. This is the OG Modern Warfare 2 that you've heard about. I don't even need to explain it. 2009, Modern Warfare 2. And then, of course, the infamous, no, not the infamous game that came out in 2009, but the infamous greatest game ever, Uncharted 2 Among Thieves. not my favorite in the series, but it is, industry renowned as one of the greatest games of all time. That came out in 2009, along with Left 4 Dead 2, Assassin's Creed 2, Wii Sports Resort. Don't sleep on that. Borderlands, New Super Mario Bros. Wii, and some other games. Wolfenstein, great year. Stacked at the top. Halo 3 ODST, I love that game. And like I said, Infamous. But obviously the best game of 2009, in my opinion, Ratchet & Clank, A Crack in Time. If you have not played a Ratchet & Clank game, it's unacceptable. But if you have not played a Crack in Time, don't say you're a Ratchet & Clank fan, because Crack in Time is so far above any other game even remotely similar to Ratchet & Clank. Also, this game is one of my favorite games of all time. It is absolutely amazing. 2010, you got Red Dead Redemption, Assassin's Creed Brotherhood, Mario Galaxy 2, Mass Effect 2, Halo Reach, Alan Wake. The list goes on. BioShock 2, we won't mention that though. Metal Gear Solid Peace Walker. God of War 3. This was a good year. Spider-Man Shattered Dimensions. Great game. Great year of gaming. Super Meat Boy. Wow. Battlefield Bad Company 2. Absolutely amazing game. Toy Story 3, the game, actually amazing. But I'll say probably best game this year, Call of Duty Black Ops. Black Ops really switched up the Call of Duty formula that at this point needed the switch up, with a new developer in Treyarch. They had their own spin on it with a timepiece set in, whatever era that was. Was a great game. Shout out to Red Dead Redemption. Okay, 2011, which is probably my favorite year in gaming because it has two of probably my top 5 games of all time. Uncharted 3, Drake's Deception. I think that's the best game in the Uncharted game series. I don't think it has the best story out of all of them, but I think in terms of just gameplay, it's the most fun to play with pacing and mechanics and whatnot. Also, Batman Arkham City. Another one of the greatest, not just greatest sequels, but one of the greatest stories in the Batman IP. Portal 2, also one of the greatest sequels ever made. Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3. I loved Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3. I think I liked it more than Modern Warfare 2, but Modern Warfare 2 was more iconic. Infamous 2, iconic sequel. Little Big Planet 2, iconic sequel. The Witcher 2, iconic sequel. This was also the year of Sonic Generations. Great Sonic game. So, some big releases this year as well, though. Dead Space 2, Gears of War 3, and what I would say is probably overall best, most iconic game that came out in 2011 is, of course, Skyrim. I like Skyrim, but I was never into it as much as probably all of you listening. But it was really great game. But of course, best game of 2011. Come on. Arkham City. I mean, I'm Batman. 2012. Journey. Okay, if you haven't played Journey, it is a different experience playing Journey. Mass Effect 3, huge. Persona 4 Golden, huge. Borderlands 2, great sequel. Assassin's Creed 3, my favorite Assassin's Creed game was that year. Hotline Miami, amazing game. Need for Speed Most Wanted, a bunch of Lego games. Call of Duty Black Ops 2 was probably the best game that year, but I want to really focus on... also Halo 4, shout out to Halo 4 and Far Cry 3. This is a huge year, hold on. Huge year. Far Cry 3, Halo 4, Black Ops 2, Assassin's Creed 3, Mass Effect 3, Dishonored, Borderlands 2, Persona 4 Golden, Resident Evil 6, but I really want to shout out the Walking Dead series developed by Telltale Games. This is the spawn of that, and it created a whole genre, essentially. Huge shout out to the Walking Dead game from 2012. Wow, that's a great year. And PlayStation All-Stars Battle Royale, Gravity Rush. Oh, this is a crazy good year. Wow. And it gets even... I'll never forget 2013. I remember to this day the multiple games I played in 2013. I probably can't remember as vividly another year of playing games like I remember 2013. BioShock Infinite. That is one of the greatest games ever made. Grand Theft Auto 5, one of the greatest games ever made. Assassin's Creed Black Flag, a lot of people's favorite. That was that year. Pokemon X and Y, that was huge. Injustice Gods Among Us, that was also huge. I personally really loved Injustice, but I'm a huge fan of NetherRealm. Also, Batman Arkham Origins, great game. Call of Duty Ghost, I liked Call of Duty Ghost a lot. This was also the year Warframe came out. That was huge. For people that don't remember or are into Warframe still. But of course, Game of the Year, Last of Us. This is the 2013 gave us one of the greatest games of all time, just objectively if you look across the industry. So that was up to 2013. Now we're getting into the modern, I would consider modern era of games with 2014. Here we go. Ready? Mario Kart 8. Dragon Age Inquisition, Wolfenstein The New Order, Sunset Overdrive, Infamous Second Son, Titanfall, Destiny, Halo, the Master Chief Collection, it's a collection. Call of Duty Advanced Warfare, I love that. Love that game. Metal Gear Solid 5, Ground Zero, Assassin's Creed Unity, I like it, but okay. Little Big Planet 3. Overall, very mid-year. So, but my favorite this year, that's actually really tough for me because I loved the original Destiny a lot. That year, 2014, probably Advanced Warfare was my favorite between that and Destiny. Shout out to Titanfall, Infamous Second Son. 2014 was kind of a mid-year, I guess. But that didn't stop 2015 from being one of the greatest years ever, probably top 3 in terms of games. Bloodborne, Metal Gear Solid 5, The Phantom Pain, Witcher 3, The Wild Hunt, Rocket League, Until Dawn, Fallout 4, Batman Arkham Knight, Rise of the Tomb Raider, Call of Duty Black Ops 3, Ori and the Blind Forest, Dying Light, Star Wars Battlefront. So many amazing games in 2015. Mortal Kombat X, The Order 1886. Yes, that was a good game. Best game that year, personally, Rocket League. I think Rocket League is one of the greatest games ever made. There was never a game like Rocket League, and never will be another game quite like Rocket League. If you know, you know. And then obviously, huge shout out to Bloodborne, Witcher 3. Those 2 games are insanely huge. Now, my personal favorite game this year would have been Arkham Knight. That's what really got me started into making videos, was making Arkham Knight videos back in the day. 2015. 2016, from what I remember, this is a mid-year. Uncharted 4, Thief's End, great game. Overwatch, Titanfall 2, The Last Guardian, No Man's Sky, Batman Return to Arkham. Oh, that was that year, okay. The Ezio Collection, Modern Warfare Remastered. Man, this feels like yesterday. Pokemon Go came out that year. That's crazy. Hope all this is accurate. I could be saying stuff that's completely wrong, but I do remember all this. That is a mid-year. Yeah, okay. Battlefield 1. No, that was mid. Shout out this year to Uncharted 4. A game had a story and a presentation, with how it told that story, unlike any game up to that point, really. I mean, it was that's where it came. The term "you're playing a movie" came from was when they started doing this, for good or bad. But also shout out to Titanfall 2, one of the greatest first-person shooter story campaigns ever. Now, Overwatch got Game of the Year that year. Dark Souls 3, we don't talk about that stinky game. 2017, Horizon Zero Dawn. Wow, 2017. Super Mario Odyssey, Breath of the Wild. Resident Evil 7, Destiny 2, Wolfenstein 2, Assassin's Creed Origins, Prey, Injustice 2, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, Sonic Mania. Man, this feels like yesterday. This is a rough video. A lot of games that year. Now, of course, Breath of the Wild got Game of the Year. Now, my personal favorite game that year, I'm trying to think what I played the most that year. That year, I probably played Injustice 2 the most. Also, I played Uncharted Lost Legacy a lot, but, you know, huge shout out to Breath of the Wild. Breath of the Wild probably was a top game that year for sure, with, you know, how impactful it was on the overall gaming community and just, you know, fans of entertainment in general. That was a zeitgeist year in gaming for that reason right there. And Horizon Zero Dawn, what a great start to a series that they're going to run into the ground. 2018. Do I even want to get into 2018? My favorite game this year was Marvel Spider-Man. I platinumed it in like a few hours. I had no life when it came to that game. Huge shout out to God of War 2018. I didn't expect to like it, but I ended up loving it. Red Dead Redemption 2 was probably the greatest game of that year. It still carries so much, love and garners so much attention to this day in 2024. There's a resurgence of people going back for Red Dead 2. Still hungry for a Red Dead game, so they're just replaying Red Dead 2. I see it all the time. Shadow of the Colossus, remastered, remake. Smash Bros. Ultimate, Assassin's Creed Odyssey. This was a good year. Shout out to Octopath Traveler, Detroit Become Human. Sea of Thieves. That was a pretty big game, actually. Now, one of my favorite games of this year was A Way Out. A Way Out, developed by Hazelight Studios. Yusuf Fares, if that's how you pronounce his name, went on to make one of my favorite games of all time in 2021. But A Way Out, such a unique game too. It kind of spawned its own niche in the genre of cooperative games. Great game, cooperative action game. Loved it. 2019, Control, Gears 5, the OG Warzone, not the OG Modern Warfare, but the OG Warzone right there. Mortal Kombat 11, great game. Kingdom Hearts 3, Death Stranding, Outer Worlds, Sekiro, RE2 Remake. Oh, that was huge. Pokemon Sword and Shield, Days Gone, Borderlands 3, and of course, actually, hold on. There's still more. Apex Legends, Plague Tale Innocence, Disco Elysium. Man, this feels like yesterday. World War Z, Need for Speed Heat. A lot of games. But best game of the year, Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. Actually, I might actually give it to Resident Evil 2. I'm not a fan of Resident Evil 2 remake, just because I'm not into those games. But that was an amazing game that year. That is a stacked year as well. But shout out to Death Stranding and Jedi Fallen Order. Jedi Fallen Order was huge. It was the Arkham Asylum of the Star Wars games. All right, modern era. Here we go. 2020. Ghost of Tsushima, best game of the year. I don't even want to talk about anything. Actually, it says Warzone 2020. Was that true? Oh, wow. Then that even makes Modern Warfare 2019 even worse in comparison. Never mind. I'll take that back. Okay. Spider-Man Miles Morales. Final Fantasy VII Remake. Last of Us Part 2. Animal Crossing. New Horizons. I thought that came out. Wow. Oh, yeah. That was the year of the disease we don't talk about. The sickness. Streets of Rage 4. Underrated. Okay, I want to just say Streets of Rage 4, one of the best beat 'em ups in the last 15 years. But of course, the best game of the year, Ghost of Tsushima. I mean, to me, it blows all these games out of the water except for Final Fantasy VII Remake. If we're being honest on this podcast, and that's what I am. I'm honest with you. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that the Demon Souls remake or Last of Us Part 2 is better than Ghost of Tsushima. I don't lie about the games of the year. on this show. Ghost of Tsushima blows all of these trash games out of the water in comparison. So 2021, there's only one game this. There's 2 games this year, unlike any other. No, not Halo Infinite, great game. No, not Village, great game. Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart, amazing game, but no, that's not it. It wasn't Returnal. Top 2 of this year, 2021, Psychonauts 2. Shout out to Peter O'Connell doing the music. What an amazing, amazing composer that brings life to games through engaging soundtracks and scores. Double Fine knocked it out of the park with Psychonauts 2. I loved it, but a game that was even better than that. Hold on, before I even say the best game of that year, Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy was actually that would be in my top 3. Guardians of the Galaxy, the video game, was extremely underrated, extremely amazing. So I'll give you my top 5 right now. Back 4 Blood was number 5. Back 4 Blood is a faithful remake, basically adaptation of of Left 4 Dead, made by same devs. So number 5, Back 4 Blood. Number 4, Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart. Number 3, Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy. Number 2, Psychonauts 2, and one of the greatest games ever made. Top 5 games of all time. Everybody should play it. It Takes Two. Play it. I cannot recommend a game more highly than It Takes Two from 2021. Maybe at the end I'll give my top 5 most recommended games of all time over the last 24 years. 2022, Horizon Forbidden West. Elden Ring. Elden Ring was overrated. That game, besides its lore and its combat, the game is boring and dull. Okay. Shredder's Revenge, one of the greatest games of that year. Stray, awesome. The Quarry was a fun game. You know, it's not the most polished game ever, but it was a lot of fun. Modern Warfare 2, garbage. Last was Part 1. Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, I played that. It was a lot of fun. Callisto Protocol, fun year. Scarlet and Violet broke records. That was a great Pokemon game. God of War Ragnarok was okay. Let's everyone calm down. It's a great God of War game, but come on. Horizon Forbidden West is the best game of 2022. One of the greatest games of all time. People sleep on Horizon Forbidden West. Shout out to Pensiment, Plague Tale Requiem. Man, we're here on the 24th year in this 2023. In my opinion, the greatest game. Not the greatest game. The greatest year of gaming ever. With some of the greatest games of all time all coming out this year. Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, an all-time great. Baldur's Gate 3, which won Game of the Year, all-time great. Marvel Spider-Man 2, in my opinion, it's underrated. That's how good it is. I think it's an all-time great. Starfield, stinker. Alan Wake 2, one of the best narrative-driven cinematic games ever made. Mario Bros. Wonder, one of the best 2D games since Super Mario World back in the day. Dead Space remake, so polished. Pikmin 4, actually an amazing RTS. Hi-Fi Rush, great game. A lot of great remasters this year, including Metroid Prime, one of the best remasters of all time, which was a candidate for Game of the Year, Resident Evil 4 remake. So polished. One of my favorite games of all time was this year, Jedi Survivor. I think that it's a very, very underrated blend of some genres and an also amazing story for Star Wars fans or non-Star Wars fans. It carries its own weight. Hogwarts Legacy, the best-selling game of the year, actually. When this, it's put up against Call of Duty, Hogwarts Legacy was the best-selling game of the year. Pizza Tower, one of the best indie games ever made. I'm calling it right now. Came out 2023. Atomic Heart, interesting game. Dead Island 2 finally came out after 10 years. Lies of P, an amazing Souls-like game. And then a game I'm playing right now that I cannot stop playing is Assassin's Creed Mirage. It is like the original Assassin's Creed game, but with that 2023 coat of polish. And it's actually Digital Foundry gave it the best looking game, fidelity wise, of 2023. And I really like how they did this installment of the game. Street Fighter 6, huge. Mortal Kombat 1, huge. Octopath Traveler 2, one of the best RPGs ever, one of the best art styles I've ever seen. I would consider this is the year Cyberpunk 2077 is fully released. That game is awesome. Redfall, stinker. But it just goes on. This year was a year of absolute bangers. Armored Core. I mean, I'm still going. Dave the Diver, one of the greatest indie games ever made. Sea of Stars. So my favorite for the year for 2023, now that it's 2024, I could probably give my actual game of the year, best game of 2023. I just haven't played Alan Wake 2, but I feel like it would be Alan Wake 2. But as it stands right now, I don't know. I really don't know. I'm enjoying Assassin's Creed Mirage more than I enjoyed Spider-Man 2 and Jedi Survivor. But I think Marvel Spider-Man 2 is underrated, underappreciated, and special, and it's so good. But also Jedi Survivor is also underrated. I'm not sure. That year is stacked with games. But I'll give it to Spider-Man 2 for now, until I play Alan Wake 2. But shout out to Mirage and Jedi Survivor. All right. I'm going to end this video quickly because I've done a lot of reviewing, 24 years worth of reviewing of video games. But I just love games. I remember playing all of these games, each year. I remember playing these games. I've played all of them that I said that I love, that were my top games of the year. So I have a lot of history here playing some great games, and I can recommend some great games too. So, the top 5 games I would strongly recommend more than probably any games. Sly 2 Band of Thieves. This is in no particular order. Sly 2 Band of Thieves, strongly recommend that for a classic stealth game that is a masterclass in character development, world design, mission design, music, voice acting, everything about it. Game is fantastic, extremely underrated, and extremely, extremely good. All right. Going through the years here, I would strongly recommend over anything else. Man, that's a tough thing to say. If you strongly recommend something over anything, I gotta give it to Arkham City. Just for the story and the what they did with Batman in this game was unlike anything in superhero games up to that point, and still to this day. I think Spider-Man obviously came close, but I would highly recommend Batman Arkham City as a game to play. So my top 3, essentially, BioShock Infinite. I cannot recommend BioShock Infinite enough. I think it is one of the greatest games, probably top 5. I've said that a lot, but it is. It really is. All right. Moving on, going up through the years of games here. I would say I got to do it, even though I haven't even beat the game yet. Red Dead Redemption 2, because it is so iconic. It is so polished. It is so good. I'm in the process of trying to beat it. But I would recommend, if you're a gamer, Red Dead Redemption 2. That is how good that game is. And let's see what else. I'm trying to look at all-time greats. All-time greats. Ghost of Tsushima. One of the greatest games of all time. And then last, obviously, It Takes Two. I think it's one of the greatest games ever made. Those would probably be my top 5. I could substitute Psychonauts 2 in there for Red Dead Redemption or another game that I'm more familiar with. But I think Red Dead Redemption 2 is, if you've played it, you know what I'm saying. Like, you got God of War 2018, Marvel Spider-Man 2018, but Red Dead Redemption 2 is so special. But check out those games. Honorable mention, Horizon Forbidden West. People are sleeping on this game. Don't play a stinky Elden Ring. Go play a good game. That's the wise words I'm leaving you with today. So if you got this far, I'm sorry for rambling so much, but I really enjoy looking back over the years of video games and talking about games. These bring back so many memories for me. I hope they bring back a lot of memories for you. Let me know some of your favorite games ever, your top 5. Sly 2, Band of Thieves, Batman Arkham City, Red Dead Redemption 2, Ghost of Tsushima, and It Takes Two. Those are top 5 games from over the last 24 years that I would recommend you check out before any other game. And with that, thank you guys for watching.